captain, you know, sort of kind of really lifting the mood, sort of just how important these closing few weeks are. How much, you know, if there's a doubt over him for participating tomorrow, how much do you need him as a captain? How much do you need him as a player? Is this the stage of the season when maybe players even have to be a little bit brave? You know, how do you see that?
Well, he's the captain for a reason, and he has a personality, an aura, a way to conduct and raise the standards that is very rare to see, and he does it in any circumstances. And he is a player brings so much energy to the team as well, because he's always at it. He's always so focused, always very demanding. And I'm glad to hear that you like the way he talks, because when he talks, and he's not someone who needs to be talking constantly, because it's more about actions than talking. But when he does talk, I think it's very impactful.
And that braveness that I talk about, you know, is that when players that get, you know, being realistic, you could have 6 games to make it the best season in the club's history. You could become the greatest manager in the club.
But we know that, we know what is at stake. We need to push it, and everybody has to lead himself and take ownership on the moment, because the impact that you can have in a moment now is going to define the history of the club. And that's a very powerful thing to have.
And just finally for me, that turnaround that we were talking about then, it's how do you shut off that mind to go into Fulham as a player and completely forget and disregard Tuesday? And I don't know, is that on you? Or, you know, is that how it should be? Is that unrealistic? Because these 2 games, if you win them, you can win them back.
I think it comes down to preparation. We've done it for 9.5 months now, so we are used to that. And we know that we can only focus on one game. And that game has enough difficulties and challenges that thinking in a different way is not going to be helpful at all. And the players' reaction immediately after that is, guys, now it's Fulham, now it's Fulham, now it's Fulham. Immediately in the dressing room, they know that, and they will have time to prepare the Atletico Madrid. And after that, we're going to have more separation in games. So we know that is this very particular period and short turnaround. Just focus on Fulham, and we'll take care of the rest afterwards.
Charlie, son?
Mikel, Brighton are bringing in an MMA fighter to help them deal with set pieces, especially, you know, specialising in blocking and stuff. You know, what does that tell you about the Premier League at the moment, where we're at? That you know, a club are sort of doing something like that, and you know, where are we going with this specialised coaches then?
Probably where we're going is that if we look 30, 40, 50 years ago in the Premier League or in football, this has already been done. In a different way, maybe it wasn't in the media, but it's been done. I know stories about 20, 30 years ago, things that they used to be done. And if they are done today, it looks like it's some innovation, and sometimes it's not. But the same with tactics, we do that, this is genius, we've done that. No, 50 years ago, somebody already did it. So we are recycling the machine. No, because you're going to use it in a way that I don't think it's going to be appropriate, but it's in my head.
And can I ask you about Gabriel? A Premier League key match incidents panels ruled that they're saying it was a sending off. Just does that surprise you? And in that respect,
on which one? Sorry,
the Gabriel.
My eyes.
With Harlan, they're saying it should have been a sending off. Should have been a red card.
After the red card of Kuzanov, or
they're saying that wasn't. So just your thoughts on those two, But in the end, have you got a little bit lucky that you've not lost your key player for 3 games? Does that surprise you that they said he shouldn't send off?
No, I don't feel lucky at all.
Are you surprised that they're saying it should have been a red?
Yes.
Jacob, go on.
Mikel, you talked about this could be the defining moment for players. How do you get them to make sure they embrace that and they don't freeze when that comes, and that moment comes in front of them?
Well, even you have the opportunity to make history in such a way, I think you have to embrace it. That's it. That's what you've been working for. That's the goal that we set at the start of the season. So when you pursue a dream and you have it in front of you, you have to make your very best to achieve it. And there is nothing else that bringing out your best. That's it.
Just going back to the Brighton MMA point, I mean, some people would say this is the direction the Premier League is going in, and it's too physical, it's too much focus on set pieces, and that they look at the game on Tuesday night and say the Premier League sides could never hit the level that Bayern Munich and PSG did. I mean, Do you subscribe to that view, or you think that that's an unfair characterisation of the way in which teams play?
Well, there is something that when I look at that game, the Bayern PSG is probably the best game I have ever witnessed on the quality of two teams, and especially the individual quality that the players deliver. Never seen something like this. But when I look at the amount of minutes and the freshness of those players, then I'm not surprised. To deliver those moments of quality, you have to be very fresh, and the difference in the leagues and the way they compete in is night and day. And you just have to see a lot of stats that they've been recently around it. So we are comparing two different worlds. So you cannot compare one part of that without giving any context to that. I don't think it's fair.
Okay, last couple now. Isan, Gary. Isan?
I'm Mikel. Aside from the obvious results itself, what do you think will be the variables that dictate whether you win a trophy this season? It's very easy to say winning or losing or the draw, but what are the finer details that will dictate the results in the end?
Well, there's so many. I mean, so many variables in a Premier League match to understand the outcome of the game or of the result. And so many of them are so unpredictable to happen. Take the game where you want it, do a lot of the things that you believe are right to achieve the results. And then this is football. The margins are so small. And let's see what happens.
You've been in many title runnings in the past few seasons. Is there anything in particular in your tenure at Arsenal that you're kind of thinking about or zeroing in on to learn from them that you're...
Yes, have every player available and fit at the best. C'est fini. With that, I'm a happy man. That's the most important thing. When you see it, you talk about the other two teams the other night, yeah? How many players were available? All of them at the very best. That's the best important thing.
About the grass and the watering the other day in Madrid. Did you complain about the grass being too long? And also, were you happy that only half of the pitch seemed to be watered at half time? Which obviously, the side they were attacking, they all kind of have it a bit more diddy.
No, we have a process every game to understand that everything is down to the standard that it has to be. That's our duty, and that's it.
And the Marseille coach was a bit critical of Ethan last week and said he needs to show more commitment. Are you aware of sort of how Ethan has done there? And do you think maybe, like, in a broader picture, the type of loans that you might do in the future might be slightly different to the one Ethan's got on?
Well, I think that's the coach opinion. He's with him every single day, and that's it. I mean, it's he's the one making the decision. He's one that sees and understands better what he's doing. And Ethan has to respond to that in the right way. So it's the same place that William Saliba was there, same club, and the outcome. Let's see. Maybe it's the best thing that can happen for Ethan, for his career. Maybe, we don't know.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Yes.
Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
How are you?